Nalan Manor's shame? Maybe if you died, Master would then be able to be happy. Another sneered, who knows if you're really his child? Perhaps you're just an illegitimate one. Zhang San snorted, being sold as a slave is already the best ending for trash like you. He sneered and pushed the wet nurse away, her whip lashing out at the attackers. Pain screams echoed, my hand. My hand. He placed a hand on wet nurse Chen's thin shoulder, her voice holding a rare trace of gentleness. Wet nurse, don't be afraid, I can easily find methods to deal with them. Finished speaking, her cold gaze glared like a tiger watching her prey. Her stare fixed towards the servants who crowded around. You all shouldn't forget that no matter what, I am your master. This kind of offense to your master, were you not afraid of being punished by Nalan Manor's people? Ha 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 ha. The servants in the room all raised their heads and laughed loudly, their faces exuberant with their ridicule and gloating. Nalan Manor? Hee hee, I advise you not to indulge in wishful thinking. Who doesn't know your Nalan Manor's shame? You being alive is exactly what causes Nalan Manor to lose face. Maybe if you died, Master would then be able to be happy. Another person agreed, that's right. The Master and everyone else in the Nalan family all have awe-inspiring innate talent. Which one of them is not a famous young talent in the city of Yanjing? Then unfortunately out you come, this trash, to throw shade on Nalan Manor's face. No one even knows whether or not you are really Master's biological child. Maybe she's really an illegitimate child, who doesn't know her mother was famous for having the appearance of a fox. One, who knows how many random men were tricked by her. Subsequently, the main room filled with uproarious laughter. Wet Nurse Chen was so angry that her entire body shook, resisting the urge to rush up and drag out these wicked servants that produced such evil tongues with all her might. However, He didn't get angry in the slightest. Restraining Wet Nurse Chen, she faintly swept her eyes over several people. Oh, so that's to say that me secretly being sold off, the idea came from Nalan Manor? In the depth of Nalan He's memory, there was a strong yearning hidden. A yearning for recognition from Nalan Manor, paired with a child's admiration towards Nalan Jingze. Even throughout her childhood, though she was often bullied by Nalan Feishui, there was not even the slightest hint of hatred. Instead, she regarded her as a sister. Such a kind-hearted, weak little girl. Even if Nalan Manor had abandoned her, she could still tolerate it. Zhang San coldly snorted, disdain written across his face. If we received the order to directly kill you, there would of course be no harm in doing so. It's simply the goodness in our hearts that allowed you to find a way to survive. Moreover, for useless trash like you, being sold as a slave is already the best ending. The servants here didn't clearly know about the matter of He being sold like Butler Zhang and Xiaoxi, but they did know that something had happened to her. They just didn't care. Each one of them felt an implacable hatred towards Nalan He. They all wished for her to disappear quickly, so that they could leave this desolate place and return to Nalan Manor. Nalan He may be obstructing their return, but even then they wouldn't dare act blindly without thinking. She was still Nalan Manor's third miss after all. Now that someone in Nalan Manor wanted her to die, all of them would certainly be happy to see it happen. Zhang San retrieved a dagger from behind his back, and slowly approached He. Since you didn't feel grateful and appreciate the kindness we gave you, instead coming back here to find death, then don't blame us for being ruthless. Brothers, all together. The words were barely out, when the remaining 5 servants in the room joined him in attacking. Zhang San brandished the dagger that gave off a cold light, while the others gathered their spiritual powers in their palms as they attacked He. He sneered, her figure moving slightly as she gently pushed the screaming Wet Nurse Chen away from her. The long whip in her hand unraveled, fiercely whipping towards the 6 servants. Ah ah ah. Pain screams echoed throughout the room, my hand. My hand. In the blink of an eye, 3 people's wrist bones were neatly crushed, their hands hung powerlessly as their palms mottled with vivid purples and greens. Zhang San's hand that had been holding the dagger had his wrist completely fractured. Badly mutilated bones were exposed in his broken wrist. The remaining 3 people were scared stiff by the scene before their eyes, causing their complexions to turn deathly pale. He once again waved her whip, and their screams filled the air as they fell hard to the ground. As Hishi looked down at the people rolling around in pain, the corner of her mouth lifted into a slight sneer. Based on these people's three-legged cats, skills, they can in no way be compared with Zhu Zhongba's guards. She didn't even need to use her invisible needles. Didn't you all say that you wanted to properly teach me? She raised the whip, lightly slapping it to the ground, causing sparks to fly everywhere. Didn't you all say that since I'm an illegitimate child, I'm courting death? Now that you've already spoken, in the end, who is courting death? Hishi's whip slashed at Zhongsan's body, causing him let out a sorrowful scream. This kind of good-for-nothing trash. You dared to be so arrogant to your master? In the end, who gave you a dog's courage? As if watching a group of dying ants, Hishi looked down at them with disdain. A faint purple light flickered in her cold black eyes, making them seem brighter. The 6 people on the ground trembled, so terrified that they didn't even dare scream. Zhongsan first recovered. With difficulty he used his uninjured hand to support himself on the ground. Climbing to his knees, his sorry figure crawled to Hishi's feet. Miss, we know we've been wrong. I beg you to have mercy on us. Miss, we received Butler Lee's order, only then would we dare to attack you. But the matter of selling you, we really only just heard about it then. We were completely unaware. You're known to be generous, I beg you to spare us. Right. Right. Everything was Butler Lee and his nephew, Lee Si's doing. Miss, we're all innocent. Hishi smiled with cold amusement while watching their performance. Allowing them to kowtow for a while, only then did she lazily say, for me to let you off may be possible. However, how do I know you will not turn your heads again, and frame me in the future? Maybe you'll try to sell me again? Zhongsan stared blankly, before quickly raising his uninjured left hand. Pointing to heaven to make an oath, I, Zhongsan, willingly swear that from now on till afterwards to follow Mississippi. I will work extremely hard to serve Miss, never betraying her. If I were to ever disobey, let me be struck by heaven's thunder. The other 5 people naturally followed Zhongsan's lead. Enduring their pain, they crawled towards Hishi. Striving to be the first, and fearing to be the last to swear, Wet Nurse Chen was stunned by the show before her eyes. She didn't expect her miss to be so ferocious after merely disappearing for a day. In her hands, the 6 cultivators of the Qi refining stage didn't have any ability to resist. However, even after hearing the 6 people's oath, she still felt worried. No one knew more clearly than her these servants' viciousness. How could it be possible for them to sincerely vow loyalty and devotion to Mississippi? Miss' natural disposition was kind-heartedness, but by all means she wouldn't believe them. Wet Nurse Chen anxiously wanted to warn her, however, Hishi had already leisurely sneered, all right, since you are so sincere, I'll give you a chance to turn over a new leaf. The 6 people heard what was said and immediately became ecstatic. Although when they lowered their eyes, a thread of ruthlessness swept past. Humph, loathsome lady, actually daring to punish them. Wait until they went to Nayland Manor to seek help, see if she could still be so cocky then. At that time, this loathsome girl must properly experience suffering. Every inch of the bones in her body would be broken, her hands and feet completely crippled. Have a taste of living while wanting to die. Miss, you can't believe them. Wet Nurse Chen exclaimed.